Welcome. I'm Hannah Skeggs, Nutrition and Scientific Affairs Manager at IGD. IGD is a research and training charity which sits at the heart of the food and grocery industry. We have a long heritage in nutrition labelling and recently have undertaken extensive research on front-of-pack nutrition labels, creating best practice guidance on how to educate consumers. Our research showed that the biggest areas of consumer confusion are portion size, energy and calories, reference intake, and colour coding. So IGD have worked with marketing agencies, researchers, behaviour change experts, and nutritionists to create a set of explanatory messaging to help tackle this. The messages are designed to be used in any consumer-facing communications, and there are 2 guides which can be downloaded for free. The messages work best when delivered in a specific order, and there are core messages and support messages so that you can tailor your message to the audience. Our research generated short and simple messages to increase comprehension, and I'd like to take you through them. Firstly, we want people to know and recognise their label. Checking the nutrition label is a good way to compare products, make healthier choices, and eat a balanced diet. It's really important to know the colours. The red, amber and green colours show at a glance whether a product is high, medium or low for fat, saturates, sugars or salt. Red illustrates that a product is high in a nutrient and green shows that it is low. You can use the colour coding to compare 2 products. If one sandwich has less red and more green than another, it's the healthier choice. For a healthier choice, choose products with more greens and fewer reds. You don't have to avoid all foods with a red colour on the nutrition label, but eating fewer reds and less often can help you achieve a healthier diet. A food could be high or red in sugars, but low or green in fat, for example, so look out for the overall balance in your diet. If 2 products have the same colour coding on the nutrition label, look at the numbers to compare in more detail. Here, you can see that one packet has 13% of the recommended intake of saturated fat, whilst the other has 10%. They're both classified as amber. In this case, 10% is the lower level of saturated fat and is the healthier choice. But it's important to consider the whole label, not just one nutrient. Finally, for colours, the colour coding for fat, saturates, sugars and salt on nutrition labels are set by the Department of Health. The Department of Health are a UK government body. It's also important to know your portions. Check the pack for the portion size, as this is what the numbers on the nutrition label are based on. If you're eating more or less than the portion size shown, you need to adjust the numbers shown on the nutrition label. For example, if a portion of cake specified 1 cupcake and you eat 2 cupcakes, you're actually consuming 2 portions. In the case pictured, each singular portion of cake provides 15% of the recommended intake for energy, and 2 cakes therefore provides 30%. It's important you know your calories. To make the choice that's right for you, use the calorie information to compare products. Check the pack for the number of calories there are in a portion and 100 grams of a food or 100 ml of drink. The average woman needs 2,000 calories per day, and the average man 2,500. Children will need fewer than 2,000 depending on their age. You'll usually see 2 values on labels, kilocals and kilojoules, but most people find it easier to just look out for calories. So what is a daily allowance? Reference intake has replaced the term guideline daily amount, or GDAs, but they are essentially the same thing. The numbers on the label show you how many calories and how much fat, saturates, sugars and salt a portion of food or drink contains, both in number of grams and as a share or percentage of your daily allowance, or reference intake. It's important to aim to stay below 100% of your daily allowance for calories, fat, saturates, sugar and salt when you add up everything you consume in a day. As an example here, we have a breakfast, lunch and dinner. 11% of calories are coming from our cereal and milk, 23% from our sandwich, and 36% from our pizza. This is good as over the course of the day, we've consumed less than 100% of the energy reference intake for the average adult. Use the percentages on the nutrition label to track whether you're under or over your daily allowance. The daily allowances are recommended by an independent panel of scientific experts and endorsed by the Department of Health. So let's give that a try. Here we have 2 cottage pies showing front of pack nutrition labelling. Which pie has the least salt? The salt for cottage pie A is in red, whilst the salt for cottage pie B is amber. This shows us that cottage pie B has less salt, and that using colours helps us to make a quick and easy decision. Now, which pie has the highest saturated fat content? This one is a little harder, as both pies have saturates in the red classification. Although the colour is the same, you can use the reference intake or grams to see that there is almost twice as much saturated fat in cottage pie A as cottage pie B. How many portions are there in this cheesecake? There are 6 portions. This catches quite a lot of people out who may get confused by fractions. The size of a portion is normally referred to just above the coloured lozenges on a front of pack nutrition label. Here you can see the pack stated 1/6 of a cheesecake, and therefore the information in the lozenge only refers to 1/6 or one portion of the cheesecake, not the whole thing. So one final question. How much of an adult's reference intake for sugar is in one serving of this cheesecake? This cheesecake has 6 servings, and the information provided in the lozenges for each. One portion provides 20% of the reference intake for sugar. It's important people understand the portions they serve for themselves, so if you eat 1/3 of a cheesecake, doubling the portion size, we can do the maths to see that you would then be consuming 40% of our sugar reference intake. So that's been a whistle-stop tour of our messages. They have undergone rigorous testing by behaviour change scientists, so shouldn't be altered, but can be added to and turned into a larger workshop if necessary. We also have shorter resources like a one-pager. When we launched our guide last year, we received support from the Chief Executive of Public Health England, who recognised the power of bringing the food industry together to educate on and display nutrition information consistently. This slide shows some of the companies that have already used the IGD messaging in their consumer communications. So hopefully you can see that some simple messaging can really help people use nutrition labels, and we've developed resources to put them into practice. To find out more about our messages and to download all of our supporting images for free, please visit igd.com/healthy eating. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, my email is available on the screen.